Good day, ministry company and friends. We are going through Acts chapter 21 today, and the title of this video or of this chapter is The Cost of Following Your Call and Commission. We understand Apostle Paul had a great call in his life. In chapter 9, verse 15-16, it talks about that he will not be only preaching to the Jews, but to the Gentiles. He is not only going to have an easy life, but he's going to suffer for the gospel. And his commission was to speak not only to the simple people, but to the people in government. So now Apostle Paul is coming back on chapter 21. He's coming back from his mission trip, and he is bringing some money, some funds to help the church in Jerusalem. They were going through a really hard time. They were going through a time where they were suffering. They needed money to purchase the food for the church. And Apostle Paul collected all the money from the churches in Asia Minor and in Greece, and he is bringing all this money. Now, he comes to Jerusalem, and he wants to spend a time in the temple because he missed the time in the temple. He's been away from several years from Jerusalem, and he was excited. Now, every time he was visiting the cities before coming to Jerusalem, in every city there was a prophetic word over his life. There was a prophetic warning saying that do not go to Jerusalem because you're going to be put in jail. And in one instance, we could probably even think about, did Apostle Paul really disobey the voice of God? Or did he knew deep inside of him that this needed to be happening? How would we react in our life when we receive this prophetic word that this is what about to happen in our life? And I'm sure some of us, we probably will take and say, you know what, I'm going to be on a safe side, and I understand this is what the Lord's saying, so I will not go to Jerusalem. Well, Apostle Paul, he knew that the danger that he was about to experience, but he knew that he needed to be there, and he would face the trials in his life. When we receive the prophetic warnings, what is our reaction? Is the fear comes in our life and we are driven by fear? Or is when we get that prophetic warning over our life that we become more stronger and stronger on what the Lord wants to say to us, and we'll say, you know what, by God we will go through all these trials, and through His love, through His power in our life, we will receive the victory, and we'll become faithful, and we'll be faithful until the end. Now, do we talk about this? Do we protect our life, or we give it away for the cause of spreading the gospel? Right now, at this very moment, as I'm recording this video, there's many thousands and thousands of Christians around the world in the persecuted countries that they are facing with this trial. Do I protect my life? Or do I give away my life just for the cause of the gospel? And many of them are faithful till the end, knowing that they might not live past tomorrow. They're faithful to the gospel. They're faithful to the love of God. They're faithful to the calling what God has over their lives. Staying faithful in the course of your call. This is what Apostle Paul did. He stayed faithful, even though he knew he's going to face this persecution, the beating, the jail time, but he stayed faithful. And I encourage you today, stay faithful to the call that God gave you over your life. We have, all of us, a great commission to spread the gospel, but some of us and most of us, we understand that there is a specific call over our lives where God wants us to be preaching the gospel. Obedience before my ambitions. This is what was the motivation of Apostle Paul. Obedience before my ambitions. Obedience before my ambitions. I want to see people saved. I want to accomplish what God has for me. And the last is the joy of suffering. Yes, there is a joy in suffering, knowing that the reward is waiting for you. And it's the gospel saying that what a joy it's to suffer for the right cause. What a joy is to suffer for Christ. Why? Because Jesus Christ suffered for us. And this is our little payback to suffer for Him, to suffer for what He suffered for the people. And I just want to leave this with you. Be faithful in your call and be joyous in your trial. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow.